Yo, what's up guys, welcome to my humble YouTube channel where I bring you fanfiction that will brighten your days. Before we start, a subscribe is greatly appreciated, and don't forget to leave a like and ring the bell icon so you won't miss exciting new fanfiction stories. Two Gods Summoned to a Fantasy World by BenGrem1234. Chapter 30. The fated arrival. Yoshino, who was still glowing in her dazzling light, looked around the giant kingdom and saw that it was restored. Even so, those who have died were still dead, and she couldn't resurrect them because she doesn't have the authority to do so. Not that she doesn't have the power to do so, but the universal laws created by Miyuki permits only the deities with her direct divine protection the authority to resurrect. Which means that only the deities can resurrect a soul. Creating a soul is different, however. Anyone who has the power to, could easily create a soul. Only Rimuru, who transcends all laws and concepts, have the power to resurrect a soul regardless of the laws of the world. Though, there are ways for those without Miyuki's blessing to bypass the laws of the world. An example is when Chloe healed King Edward. Back when Chloe healed King Edward, she didn't resurrect him after he died, but rather reversed his time to the point before he died, which brought him back to life. As she is the goddess of time, she controls all history and timeline, and she is the one who manages the time tree, which is the source of all time and history in existence. Though, this won't be necessary if Rimuru gives a person his permission to resurrect a soul. After all, he is on an equal level with the goddess who rules the cosmos. Back to the present, Yoshino flew down to where he sensed Rimuru and the other where. She landed in front of Rimuru and Sophia, who was hugging him. "Papa, it seems that I have ascended just like you said I would," Yoshino said to Rimuru in excitement. Rimuru smiled and patted her head. "That you have. You have yet to reach the peak of your powers, but you are on the right track. You are even stronger than Kanade now." "Hey!" Kanade exclaimed. "She may have surpassed me now, but I will catch up to her soon." "Big sis." Yoshino turned to Sophia. "Will I ever be as strong as you?" "Of course you will, Sophia. With enough training and hard work, you will be stronger than me in no time." Yoshino patted Sophia in the head. Chloe and Lilith flew down to where everyone was. "I've never been as shocked as I am now. I don't think anyone from our world is a match for Yoshino now. Crazy. The powers gushing out of Yoshino now is equal to that of a lower god. Her aura is enough to destroy all the worlds and dimensions in the lower realm. How is the worlds not yet destroyed by her presence?" Lilith asked in confusion. "I wouldn't want the worlds in the lower realm to be destroyed. So I'm kinda strengthening all the infinite worlds in the lower realm with my powers. Before that, Yoshino, could you deactivate your ultimate battle mode?" Rimuru asked her. "Sure thing, Papa." Yoshino closed her eyes and deactivated her ultimate battle form and suppressed her aura, which brought a huge relief for Kinlith, who was behind them. Kinlith looked at Rimuru and the others in shock and fear. From their conversation just now, it is obvious that these are deities. No wonder the dragons from the middle realm were helpless against them. What could beings from the middle realm do to deities from the higher realm? The dragons didn't stand a chance. But still, just what are deities doing in the lower realm? I hope they don't choose to erase us all. Rimuru turned to Kinlith. "Could you show us where the leader of the giants is?" Kinlith looked down in sadness after hearing Rimuru's questions. "The leader of the giants is my father, and he was the apostle who died fighting the dragons. It was after his death that the dragons began to destroy everything in sight." "Well, that's not shocking. After all, the apostle are as strong as the generals serving the major power in the lower realm. They won't be a match for any dragon who transcends everything in the lower realm. But do not worry, I have already resurrected everyone who died in the giant kingdom," Rimuru told her. Kinlith looked at Rimuru in shocked. But how?" "That's my trade secret. I can feel the giants and humans are gathering in that spacious field. Could you point me to your dad? I would like to see an apostle up close," Rimuru told her. "Sure thing. Please follow me." Kinlith then led them to the open field where Yoshino did battle with the dragons. On arriving, all the giants and humans who were gathered there began to murmur amongst themselves after seeing Rimuru and the others approaching them. One giant in particular, who was slightly taller than Kinlith with a muscle build and multiple battle scars which littered his body, began to run up to Kinlith with tears in his eyes. Kinlith, who saw him, began to rush to him as well with her own tears. "Dodd!" Kinlith shouted as she jumped into her giant father's waiting arms, who caught her and gave her a deep hug. My darling, I'm so glad that you are safe. Thank the gods that you survived, Kinlith's father said. Both of them shared their family moment with each other for a few minutes before separating and turning to Rimuru and the other. Kinlith's father then fell on his knees and bowed before them. Greetings. My name Garo and I am the king of this giant kingdom. I do not have any recollection of what happened, but seeing as you were deities, I hope that we have not done anything to inquire your wrath. Rimuru stepped forward. There is nothing to worry about. I simply wanted to see an apostle up close, and from your powers, you certainly are one of the best in the lower realm. You honor me with your praise, your excellency, Garo said, still bowing. No, you definitely have the power. The power I'm feeling from you is enough to destroy several continents if you are not careful. You should be proud of it, Rimuru told him. I will humbly accept this praise, your excellency, Garo said. Rimuru nodded. Anyway, I resurrected everyone who died in this little fiasco and you were included. Don't worry about the dragons invading again. I've made some adjustments in the dimensional wall that separates the lower realm from the middle realm. Now, it will take any beings from the middle realm some time to enter the lower realm. Garo looked astonished after hearing that. Not only does he consider the dragons a mere annoyance, he even have the power to affect the dimensional wall that separates all the realm. He must be a supreme deity or one of the elder deities to be able to do something like this. I wonder what his relationship with my daughter is. Don't worry about my relationship with your daughter. I simply helped her because she was in need, Rimuru told him. Garo was shocked on how Rimuru was easily able to read his mind, but he didn't question it seeing as he is a deity. Chloe moved to Rimuru. Darling, I sense some powerful entities approaching here. You are not the only one, goddess Chloe. I've sensed them coming here from the higher realm for quite some time now. Their powers are quite remarkable, but it's nothing to worry about, Lilith said to them. You guys are right about that. Rimuru turned to Garo. I would like you to take Kinlith and move to where the rest of your people are. What's about to happen will be on a whole new level compared to when the dragons arrived. Garo nodded and immediately took his daughter and moved to where the rest of the giants and humans are standing. Everyone could feel how tense the air is with the anticipation of the coming threat. Yoshino looked at Rimuru in confusion. Papa, I don't understand. Why are you sounding worried for the ones approaching us? The ones approaching is not my concern, but you will know soon enough, Yoshino. Seems like that they are here. Rimuru looked up in the sky to see a warp-white portal opening up. From inside the portal came out 5 beings. 4 of them were male while the last one was a girl. The first male has bright red hair and was wearing some kind of white Egyptian robe. The second male has bright long blonde hair and was wearing a traditional white Japanese kimono while holding a fan at his right hand. The third male has bright green hair and was wearing a modern-day clothes which consist of skin-tight jeans and a white shirt. The fourth male has white hair and was wearing a white suit with bright 10 golden wings at his back. The only female among them has pink hair while wearing a female bright white Valkyrie armor. The aura that was emanating from the 5 beings is enough to destroy the multiverse an infinite number of times. The density of their aura, even though suppressed, was too heavy for the lower realm to contain. From their aura alone shows that the beings were definitely not on the same team as the dragons from the middle realm. The lower realm was truly fortunate that Rimuru was around, otherwise it would have been destroyed a long time ago. Rimuru turned to Kanade and Sophia. You two stay here. Kanade, protect Sophia while I and the other sees what the guys want. Kanade nodded and brought Sophia close to her. She wanted to voice that Yoshino should stay behind as well, but she felt her releasing her aura to match the 5 beings who were still in the air. It doesn't take a lot to figure out that the 5 beings were all deities. Kanade was extremely worried and scared, but she remained calm after remembering just who her master was. Rimuru along with Lilith, Chloe and Yoshino flew up to meet the 5 deities. They flew until they reached opposite of where the deities were floating. The 5 deities were looking at them with caution. That is quite an entrance you 5 have made. Who are you and what is your purpose of coming to the lower realm? Rimuru asked them. The male with the bright red hair spoke up. We are lower gods from the higher realm sent by the supreme gods to investigate a strange phenomena that happened in this lower realm. My name is Dave. What gives Dave? Why are you casually talking to the lower beings before us? The male with the green hair said in annoyance. Suddenly, the mood dropped. Lilith glared at the lower gods in rage. A mere lower god dares to take that tone with us. You crossed a line you shouldn't have crossed. I will personally erase you five from this world, Chloe said, equally angry. Rimuru raised his hand and Chloe and Lilith calmed down, but were still glaring at lower gods. Rimuru then turned back to the gods. Mind repeating what you just said? The green-haired male looked at Rimuru in an arrogant way. Why should deities like us give lower beings like yourselves our name? You guys will be answering our questions if you want to live. The girl with the pink hair worriedly looked at her companion. Stop this, Dio. Can't you see that the two women behind that man are high gods and the little girl is a lower god? The green-haired man or Dio looked back at the pink-haired girl. What are you talking about, Celine? These people are nothing special. Even if they are deities, they don't have Miyuki's protection. Celine is right, Dio. You were only newly ascended and have yet to activate your divine eye, which is why you can't tell. But these beings, except for the blue-haired man, are all deities of a higher caliber. The blonde-hair man, or as his name Steve said. Dio looked back at Rimuru, Chloe, Lilith and Yoshino with slight fear after hearing what his partner Steve said. What are high gods doing in the lower realm? Rimuru ignored him and released a little bit of his aura, which paralyzed the five lower deities. They all looked at Rimuru in complete fear because his power was infinite times greater than their own. Safe to say that this was Rimuru releasing a fraction of his power, but that fraction, even as small as it is, was enough to paralyze the lower gods. Rimuru raised his right hand in their direction. The two things I dislike the most are evil beings and those who don't give me and my family the respect that we're due. I hope you foolish deities repent in your next existence, if I allow you to have one, that is. Saying that, Rimuru released a massive purple light beam at the five trembling lower gods. As the purple light beam approached them, it suddenly vanished in thin air before it could reach the lower gods. Chloe and Lilith had a gobs make it expression after witnessing Rimuru's powers vanish like that. The reason for their shock was because of who owns the power that had just vanished. Safe to say that Rimuru is the highest existence with no equal. Not even they have the power to neutralize a fraction of Rimuru's powers. So seeing his power vanish like that was quite the shock for them. Yoshino began to tremble in fear as she was looking at the direction of the five lower gods. Suddenly, the space behind the five lower gods opened and a blue silver-haired young lowly girl stepped out from it. The five lower gods turned around and saw the girl behind them, which caused them to have a gobs make it expression. They immediately bowed down and were sweating bullets just by being in the girl's presence. The girl ignored them and looked at Rimuru, who was calmly watching her. Not just lower gods. The girl ignored everyone else who was present there and only focused her attention at Rimuru. It was as if every other thing did not exist to her except for Rimuru. Chloe, for the first time since meeting Rimuru, was completely frightened. She couldn't explain why she was this afraid because the girl before her was not releasing any power whatsoever and she couldn't feel any power from her. Even so, her body was trembling and she was 1 second away from peeing her pants in fear of the lady before her. The only time she has felt this inexplicable fear was when Rimuru decided to show her a glimpse of his power during their training. So her feelings the same amount of fear for this young lady means that she is a being that should not be messed with. Lilith, just like Chloe, was trembling in fear. The difference between her and Chloe was that she was still thinking rationally and was making plans on how to escape. Though she knew firsthand that escape was futile the moment this being came here personally. She didn't know why, but she can see that her attention was solely on Rimuru and no one else, which was a relief for her. The only reason she was more rational than Chloe in this situation was because she has met the true being who the concept of existence and realities was simply a part of his being. Compared to that experience of meeting that being face to face, this was like a walk in the park. That doesn't mean is not scary though. Yoshino couldn't even begin to describe how frightened she was. The lady who just came out of the space portal was someone she could tell at a glance was at her papa's level. She was so frightened that she peed her pants. She wanted to faint, but she felt a gentle aura cover her, which brought her relief and calmed her down. She looked at her papa and saw that he was still calmly staring at the being, which made her happy. Even in the face of this entity, her papa remains strong and is still protecting her. Finally, after some minutes, the lady finally spoke. I've been wanting to meet you all this time in person, Rimuru Tempest. Same here. I've heard so much about you, but I guess it was better that I met you in person, Miyuki, Rimuru told her. Miyuki, the highest and strongest deity in existence and the being who rules the entire omniverse, has finally come to meet the one and only person who stands at the same pinnacle as her. Rimuru and Miyuki both stood opposite each other as their gaze never left the other even for a second. As for the bystanders, they will bear witness to why Miyuki and Rimuru's existence are out of this world.